Hello, I'm John David Bruja on location in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Stanley Park, standing in front of the Brockton Point Lighthouse. And welcome to a special edition of John's Traveling Movie Corner. And welcome to a special edition of John's Traveling Movie Corner, United States Lighthouse Society, Alaska Cruise 2026. On this cruise we hope to see, of course, lighthouses, and we'll be taking a Holland American cruise line up the inside passage to the last frontier, Alaska. We'll see more lighthouses, glaciers, whales, other wildlife, and who knows what else. I hope you enjoy the ride. And welcome to episode 2. Well, it's another day, day 5, and guess what? It's another port, Skagway, Alaska. Well, today we have a couple things planned. We are going to do a walking tour called Ghost and the Good Time Girls walking tour. And then maybe a little shopping and sightseeing, and then we're going to take a boat ride and check out Eldred Rock. Skagway, Alaska is recognized by many as the city rich in gold, and this port is known as the Garden City of Alaska. Located on the Alaska Panhandle, Skagway was founded in 1897, incorporated as a city in 1900, and a borough in 2007. Approximately 1,200 people live in Skagway, and it was the setting for Jack London's book, The Call of the Wild, and also they filmed nearby John Wayne's 1960 North to Alaska. Now in Skagway, there are many different types of tours you could have taken to see the city and surrounding areas, including a train ride. But Carlene and I decided to take the Ghost and Good Time Girls walking tour. You walk with a madam, ours being Wilma Lovell, known simply as Willie, from the Red Onion Saloon, through the back alleys and former red light district for an informative and fun lesson in history of Skagway and the woman who helped build it to what it is today. And you end the tour with a glass of champagne at the world's famous Red Onion Saloon restored brothel museum, and toast it to the women of the past and what they went through to help build the city up to what it is to today. Oh, and that's right, we can't forget about the ghost stories with the crying babies and the moving furniture, also included in the tour. Day 5 recap. We made port at Skagway. We spent some time with the ladies of the evening on a tour of the city and learned a lot about the history. After that, we did some sightseeing and some shopping. Then we made our way down to the small boat harbor for a tour to Eldred Rock Lighthouse. But unfortunately, the captain informed us, due to the inclement weather, the second and afternoon cruise was canceled. But we were blessed later in the evening, just after sunset, we got a chance to see 2 lighthouses, and one of them was Eldred Rock Lighthouse. Some fun facts about Eldred Rock Lighthouse. It's a historical octagonal lighthouse adjacent to Lynn Canal, and it was one of the last of the 10 lighthouses built in Alaska from 1902 to 1906. It's 55 miles north of Juneau, 17 miles south of Haines, and it is opening up to the public for the first time ever this year. And Eldred Rock Lighthouse was automated in 1973. Welcome to day 6, Glacier Bay National Park. You know, it'd be checking out some glaciers and hopefully see some wildlife in the distance. It was dedicated as a state monument back in 1925 and then became a national park in 1980. But it has been a destination for visitors since the 1890s. Glacier Bay National Park covers 3.2 million acres of forest, inlets, mountains as high as 15,000 feet, and of course, throw in those glaciers. The progress of the glaciers have been documented since La Perouse visited the bay back in 1786. Now, the glaciers that we had a chance to see were pretty much on the port side, including the glacier behind me here is Lamplugh Glacier in Glacier Bay National Park. And the last one, Marjorie Glacier. And mostly on the starboard side were the inlets. In fact, at one point near Marjorie Glacier, we weren't that far from the Canadian border. And kind of like the lighthouses that we see on our tours, it seemed like no two glaciers were alike, depending on its color, the size, the formation. And let's not forget about all the wildlife at Glacier Bay National Park. It almost seems like they're out there posing just for you. Well, we ended our tour through Glacier Bay National Park. Our last glacier behind me, Margie Glacier. And that'll be pretty much it for day 6 with our tour of the Alaska Cruise 2026. Welcome to day 7. We are going to our last port on the cruise, Ketchikan, Alaska. Not much on the schedule today, probably doing some sightseeing and shopping, and then we'll have a boat ride to Guard Island Lighthouse. In fact, we passed by the lighthouse we are going to see today, Guard Island Lighthouse. Well, today when we dock at Ketchikan, we will be using tenders to get to the shore. Well, we boarded our tender, made it safely to shore, and now it's time to explore Ketchikan, Alaska. We are in Ketchikan, Alaska, salmon capital of the world. Located in the Tongass National Forest, the largest in the United States. And it has a population of over 8,100 people. Of course, it picks up during tourist season. And it is the state's southeasternmost city of Alaska. And it's actually popular in movies and television shows. They filmed Cry Vengeance here with TV shows like Love Boat and Baywatch. Now here's something you don't hear too often. We're in Ketchikan, Alaska, and it's not raining, considering they get over 200 inches a year. We met up with our tour guide who took us down to the boat that was going to take us out past the airport and to our only lighthouse of the day. We are now at Guard Island Lighthouse, first established in 1900, the one behind me in 1924 at a height of 30 feet. It is located near the entrance of the Tongass Narrows in Clarence Strait. It has the original 4th order lens, and it is one of the most accessible lighthouses in Alaska. Guard Island Lighthouse was one of the first lighthouses in Alaska to be made of concrete. Yeah, it's hard to believe that Guard Island averages around 180 inches of rain a year, considering today as we pass by it. It was automated in 1969, and unfortunately all of the buildings except for the fog signal and the lighthouse were destroyed. But work is in progress to help clean up the environmental hazard of the property in hopes of better public access. We end day 7 at Guard Island Lighthouse. We'll be heading back to shore and passing by Danger Island. On the way back after Guard Island Lighthouse, we passed by Totem Bight, where we had a chance to check out some totem poles. Totem Bight State Park is home to one of the world's largest stands of totems and a native clan house, the Tlingit. It sits on 8.5 acres, a state park created in 1959. And the replicas of the 19th century poles, 15 replicas to be exact, were built around the 1940s. The former site was a traditional native campground known then as Mud Island. Well, it's day 8. Gonna be pretty much a cruising day down the inside passage. And maybe this afternoon, possibility of seeing, well, hopefully a half a dozen lights in the distance. I know it's in the distance, but you can see it right there. That's Pine Island Lighthouse. Pine Island Lighthouse, first established in 1907, the current one in 2001. Pine Island Lighthouse is located at the entrance to Queen Charlotte Strait and is the most isolated and exposed lighthouse in British Columbia. In fact, it was completely destroyed by a storm with winds as high as 185 kilometers in 1967. In fact, Pine Island Lighthouse is still a staffed lighthouse. We are now passing by Scarlet Point Lighthouse. Yes, that's it right there in the distance. You can see it. Scarlet Point Lighthouse, established in 1905 at a height of 37 feet. With no fog signal, the keeper fired his shotgun during poor visibility to alert mariners. And the skeletal tower now replaced the lighthouse in 1965, and a cylindrical steel tower stands there now. Well, it looks like the last lighthouse on our Alaska cruise will be the Chatham Point Lighthouse. First established in 1908, the current one in 1916, with a height of 15 feet. Named for HMS Chatham, Chatham Point Lighthouse is located at the confluence of 3 waterways, the Discovery Passage, Johnstone Straits, and Nodale's Channel. And in 1957, a fog signal and 2 keepers' houses arrived. In fact, this is another lighthouse where the station is still staffed. In fact, the light at Chatham Point Lighthouse is actually not on any of the buildings, but built on a cement pillar anchored to a drying rock in 1908, 100 feet off the point. Well, you can see Brockton Point Lighthouse behind us, and there's Vancouver, British Columbia. So that can only mean one thing: the end of the cruise, the end of the tour, and our trip is almost over. But we had a wonderful time. We got to see the last frontier, Alaska, 3 ports, Glacier Bay National Park, a bunch of wildlife, and oh, that's right, yes, we did see quite a few lighthouses. We got to climb one, and we got to see several from the land and from the sea. We got to see some totem poles, and we got to meet some wonderful people. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Okay, you know, this is our 3rd port in Alaska, and I haven't seen a polar bear yet. I have a feeling there's none here. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. A show of this magnitude takes a lot of people, not just in front, but behind the camera, to help me put it together to bring you a quality show. And at this time, I would like to thank those people. I would like to thank our travel by air, Delta and United, for getting us safely to and from Vancouver, British Columbia. And I would like to thank all the residents at the ports we stopped at in Juneau, Skagway, and Ketchikan for making us feel welcome in their cities. And I would like to thank Wilma Lovell, or as we know her as Willie, for providing us an excellent tour during the Ghost Stories and Good Girls walking tour in Skagway, Alaska. At this time, I would like to thank the captain and the crew of the Carlene Express for getting us safely to and from Guard Island Lighthouse. I would like to thank Holland America for providing us safe travel from Vancouver, British Columbia through the Inside Passage up to Alaska and the 3 ports and back aboard the Conningsdam, and for their overwhelming hospitality from the entire crew throughout the cruise. And I would like to thank the United States Lighthouse Society for providing us this tour and our tour guides, Margie Rowland, Kelly Bowers, and Mike Rosenberger. And finally, I would like to thank the hardest working travel consultant, photographer, and shopper, my wife, Carlene Bruja, because if it wasn't for her, this trip would not have been possible. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm John David Bruja on location in Alaska, standing in front of the Sentinel Island Lighthouse. This has been a special edition of John's Traveling Movie Corner, United States Lighthouse Society, Alaska Cruise 2026. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.